RV Capital Talks brought to you by Dicor, at the core of everything you do. Hi, welcome to RV Capital Talk. I'm Andy McCaskey from RVNN TV, and joined by our host, Sherman Goldenberg.
Thank you, Andy, and we're joined today by Garth Bromley, Chairman of Recreation Vehicle Dealer Association of Canada, and a fellow who I got to welcome, by the way.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here today.
A guy I got to know some a few weeks ago at RVIA Committee Week in the Willard Intercontinental Hotel, a great place in Washington, D.C. He and some fellow dealers, and we had a very enjoyable time, and I got to realize what a nice guy Garth Bromley was, or is. And so, you know, we're pleased to have you on here. And you know, before we talk about RVDA of Canada matters, tell us a bit about what you do. You have two dealerships, really, one on the RV side and one basically on the marine side, correct? In Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Yes, both businesses have always been in Winnipeg. The RV store was started by my mother and father in 1963, and my brother and I purchased the dealership in 1991. And then next door to that, we have a complete marine store that originally we built the property for a friend, and we ended up purchasing part of that dealership and have a very successful relationship between the two. A lot of cross customers that purchase an RV may have a boat, snowmobile, ATV, so it keeps our consumer in one location for a lot of different products.
They're right next to each other, are they not?
Yes, yeah. The property we sit on is 40 acres with 18 acres developed. Both dealerships run fully independent with their own sales force, parts, technicians. Each have their own repair shops separately, but they are side by side, just fenced down the middle.
I see that you bill yourself as the stress management experts, whether it's in the summertime or in the wintertime.
On the website there, huh?
Exactly. And so the question would be, which business has had the best growth for you over the past couple of years, considering the recession?
The RV industry, I feel, in Winnipeg, we didn't feel a big hiccup in the recession. We were approximately 10% off in business in 2010. Last year rebounded to very close to 2008 levels, and this year is about the same, maybe just 2% higher. The boat business is much more seasonal. It was more impacted, about 20% in 2009, 2010, but a lot of that was product coming across from the U.S. There was some real good deals down there for the consumer. But it's back on track now. We've had an extremely hot spring, early spring, and good heat this summer. So boat sales are going to surpass budgeted figures for our area of the country anyways.
So what did you and Sherman talk about at the Willard Hotel there in Washington for almost a week?
Well, we weren't there for about a week. May I butt in? We were there in the same lounge for about 2 hours. But
yeah.
But you know, I think one of the things we talked about, and one of the talking points of RVI Committee Week really, was a harmonizing of standards, a generally improved relationship, a familiarization between the Canadian and U.S. Industries in the recreation vehicle business, and you know, in specifically in the harmonizing of standards. Garth, what can you tell us about that process?
Well, the process really got started a couple of years ago with the Go RVing campaign first. And CRVA and RVDA Canada are joint owners of the Canadian Go RVing, and we approached the RVIA on a better way of tracking revenue for the Canadian business, and we've created a relationship that works very, very well. They're very open to our ideas, they're very concerned. especially since the recession, Canada has become, between 25 and 30% of their business, as opposed to 8 to 10% of their business. And I think we have a great working relationship. Our Canadian Coalition group, which we formed, partly of RVDA members, RVDA Canada members, dealer body members of Canada, had worked on that project, but now we're working on other projects, which are the standardization of CSA and NFPA 1192, which will make the importation into provinces easier in a lot of cases, and also a much simpler way to track the GoRVing revenue with one label.
I think we have to take a break for a sponsor, but I just wanted to underscore one thing you said. You said that the percent of the North American market currently, that Canada currently accounts for is what again, maybe?
The numbers we're getting is over 25%. It wouldn't hit 30, but it's above 25.
Wow. All right, Andy, do your thing.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment after this.
RV Capital Talks brought to you by the Dicor Corporation. Dicor Corporation is 4 specialized companies serving the RV industry. Dicor Products, United Shade, Seal Design, and Vixen Composites. Whether it's RV wheels, walls, shades, seals, or other specialty products, Dicor Corporation is at the core of everything you do.
Garth Bromley, welcome back. One of the big talking points in the RVIA circles in the U.S., and I'm curious how much it may spill over to the Canadian industry, is about the shows. There's a great deal of debate over where to go with the Louisville show, where to go with the open house, et cetera, with the fall trade events. How important is this, I guess I should say, for the Canadian dealers and manufacturers?
Well, it's important in 2 aspects. The Louisville show has been very good to the Canadians because in a lot of areas it's the right time to order product. In other areas where their shows are earlier, they want to order a little bit earlier, but September's too early because your inventory starts flowing in November and you don't really need it till February or March. And speaking with a few dealer colleagues of mine, it seems that the inventory is a little higher in Canada this year for this time of the year than it has been in past. I'm not sure if that's going to have some impact on the fall shows as to whether everybody will order as much as as normal. Retail has been fairly steady with last year. As of the end of May, we are up 2.2% in Canada total for RV retail by the statistics we're supplied. So there's small growth, but I believe everybody ordered maybe some real good deals in the fall and followed up in the spring, and business just hasn't quite caught up to that yet. So we'll see whether the high inventory or higher levels than some are comfortable with have any effect on the fall shows this year.
Well, if I would turn the question to you as chairman of RVDA of Canada, what are your top issues?
Well, our top issues, we had our advocacy days in April in Ottawa at the Parliament Hill. Our biggest issue was Transport Canada. We had a number of dealers having product turned away at the border or shut down for periods of time. So we met with the policy advisor of Transport Canada in April, and I believe from anything our office has received, the issue has been rectified. That's important also to the U.S. manufacturers, but I believe we did catch that one at the right time and met with the right people to come up with a solution to fix it. The other big issue Canada is wrestling with is the government decided in March in their budget to double everybody's duty-free allowance at the border. So a consumer can go down to the U.S., a family of 4, they're now allowed $800 a piece. So for $3,200, they can bring back a lot of RV accessories, marine accessories, car, household stuff. And some of those goods that we have to buy as a dealer, awnings for instance, we're still paying 18% duty at the border on the textile component because it's not part of the North American free trade. Plus we have to charge them a 12% provincial and federal tax. So that makes us as a retailer 30% uncompetitive to the U.S. Marketplace. So our ask is simply remove all duties that we have to pay on RV components so that we can be competitive. Our government tells us to go out there and be competitive and hire people, grow your workforce. Well, we all want to do that, but we have to be on a level playing field. So that was our second biggest issue that we tabled at the government, and I think one that faces everybody as an everyday occurrence.
Is this red tape commission that the Canadian government has set up, do you feel that it's been responsive as you bring these issues in, or is the jury still out on that?
Well, what is it? I mean, I think that's my question. What is a red tape commission? Because I don't think most of us down here know.
Well, it was a something the government put forth with manpower and designed a commission to find out ways of cutting out the slowing down of processes, the red tape, every time something needed to be done, too many hoops to jump through. So there was three, which I don't have in front of me, but three red tape reduction RV policies put through. And that was one of the ones that helped us at Transport Canada because we pushed that, we promoted it, that the RV industry was in the middle of too much red tape. And I believe that helped us in getting our problem solved in a couple weeks. The other issue with the duties and taxes we're still working on. We did have a call last 2 weeks ago with the Minister of Finance's office. He was not available. But we did not get to the right person, so we're supposed to reschedule that call in the next couple of weeks with somebody more versed on the issue of duties and importation taxes.
That red tape commission is done or is still a live initiative?
It's a live issue. It was only implemented in April, so a lot of the initiatives that are in there haven't even taken place yet. That study took over a year to put together, and the bulk of the ministers we spoke with weren't even aware that the RV industry was part of the Red Tape Commission. So of the 40 MPs we visited, that was part of our put forth and our ask that they read it, they understand it, and start applying it to our industry.
Andy, I think we could use maybe a red tape commission down here south of the border, couldn't we?
Yeah, but it looks like they took 2 years to set it up. That's because of the red tape involved.
Because of red tape. Yeah, you know, I won't enter into a conversation about presidential politics. I wouldn't dare. But I got a hunch there's some guys with some opinions about the bureaucracy and the level of regulation in the U.S. right now.
I suspect you're correct.
But we won't go there. We'll just say thank you, Garth, for joining us. I see we're close to 14 minutes, and the average American attention span is, or average North American attention span has been exceeded probably. So thank you for joining us, and we appreciate it very much, and we'll do our little smiley face salute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks much. And thanks to you for joining us here on RV Capital Talk.